The moment you stop reacting, you start winning. Think about it. Most people lose control not because they lack strength, but because they never learn to pause. One message, one look, one tone, and boom, their emotions take over. But here's the truth. Between every trigger and your response, there's a gap. And inside that tiny gap lies your freedom, your peace, your power. Today, I'll show you how to control that gap, how to master your emotions, and how to stay calm when everything around you is on fire. Because emotional control isn't about suppression, it's about strategy. It's not coldness, it's clarity, and it's the key skill that separates average performers from unstoppable ones. So take a deep breath and get ready to learn the power of not reacting. Your brain has one mission, not to make you happy, not to make you successful, but to keep you alive. And that single mission, while useful in the wild, is the very thing that sabotages you in modern life. Thousands of years ago, your ancestors survived by reacting fast. If they heard a branch snap in the forest, hesitation could mean death. Their survival depended on instant reaction, fight, flight, or freeze. Today, the branch snapping has become an email notification, a text message, a meeting that doesn't go your way. And yet, your brain still treats it like a tiger in the bushes. This is what scientists call the amygdala hijack, the moment your emotional brain overrides your rational brain. In an instant, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate spikes, your pupils widen, and your logical thinking shuts down. That's why you say things you regret. That's why you hit send on that angry message. That's why you spiral into anxiety after one small mistake. It's not because you're weak, it's because you're human, and your brain is running an ancient operating system on modern hardware. The emotional brain, the amygdala, works about 10 times faster than your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex. So when something threatens your ego, your comfort, or your identity, the amygdala reacts before you even realize what's happening. It doesn't check for context. It doesn't wait for facts. It just hits the alarm. You feel anger before you know why. You feel fear before you understand the risk. You feel defensive before you hear the full sentence. Meanwhile, the rational part of your brain, the one that makes smart decisions, is trying to regain control. But by the time it catches up, your mouth has already spoken, your body has already acted, your reputation has already paid the price. That's the trap of being reactive. It feels automatic because it is. Here's the paradox. The same system that once saved your life is now the reason you struggle in relationships, business, and self-control. Your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived one. That's why a rude comment feels like an attack, why criticism feels like danger, why uncertainty feels like drowning. Your mind screams, "This is unsafe," even when it's just uncomfortable. The goal isn't to destroy that instinct. You can't. The goal is to retrain it, to make the ancient brain serve the modern you. Every emotional reaction follows a simple sequence: trigger, interpretation, response. Most people focus on the trigger or the response, but the secret lies in the middle, the interpretation, because between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space, you can choose how to see the situation. That choice, not the event itself, determines your emotions. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your brain screams disrespect, attack, danger. Your body reacts, tension, anger, adrenaline. You honk, you yell, you ruin your morning. But if you insert awareness, you can reframe. Maybe they're rushing to the hospital. Maybe they didn't see you. The event doesn't change, but your interpretation does, and that shift rewires your emotional state. That's emotional mastery, not changing the world, but changing how you experience it. Now, let's talk about your triggers, the silent buttons that make you react without thinking. Everyone has them. The coworker who talks down to you, the family member who never listens, the client who cancels last minute. Each one is like emotional TNT waiting for a spark. When you understand your triggers, you reclaim your power, because awareness gives you time, and time gives you control. Next time you feel that wave of emotion, pause for 2 seconds and name it. Anger, frustration, fear, disappointment. Labeling it moves the experience from your amygdala to your prefrontal cortex. It's like transferring control from panic to clarity. That's why mindfulness works, not because it's mystical, but because it's neurological. Reactivity is addictive. Every time you react, your brain rewards you with dopamine. It feels powerful, even when it hurts you later. But that's the illusion. Reactivity feels like power, but it's dependence. You're letting the outside world control how you feel. Emotional mastery means you choose when to feel, how to feel, and for how long. You don't suppress emotions, you direct them. That's not coldness, that's freedom. So how do you retrain your brain? Step 1, awareness. Notice the moments you lose control. Step 2, interrupt the pattern. Breathe, pause, slow down. Step 3, reframe the meaning. Ask, what else could this mean? Maybe it's not rejection. Maybe it's redirection. Maybe it's not disrespect. Maybe it's projection. Maybe it's not chaos. Maybe it's a test of your calm. Each time you reframe, you weaken old patterns and strengthen new ones. That's neuroplasticity, rewiring your brain through repetition. You won't master this overnight. You're working against biology. But every small win builds momentum. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you reshape your brain. Over time, your reactions slow down, your awareness grows, your calm deepens, and one day what once triggered you won't affect you at all. That's when you realize you've become the calm in the storm. When you stop reacting, you stop giving your power away. You stop letting others control you. You stop being a slave to your environment, because now you control yourself. That's emotional control, not suppression, but mastery. Your brain was built for survival, but you were built for evolution, and evolution begins the moment you step out of autopilot. Remember this, every reaction trains your mind. React unconsciously, you train weakness. Respond consciously, you train power. And this is just the beginning.
Emotional mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's not a switch you flip. It's a staircase, and everyone starts on a different step. Some people spend their whole lives stuck on the first level, reacting to everything around them like a pinball in a machine. Others rise, one conscious decision at a time, until their emotions become tools, not traps. Let's walk through the 4 levels, find out where you are, and more importantly, where you want to go. Level 1. Unconscious reaction, the emotional reflex zone. This is where most people live. They don't choose their emotions choose them. Anger, jealousy, fear, defensiveness. Each emotion hits like a wave, and they go along for the ride. At this level, you are your feelings. If something makes you mad, you are mad. If something scares you, you are afraid. There's no separation between you and your state of mind. No awareness, no space, no choice. Life at level 1 feels chaotic because you never know what mood you'll be in or how you'll react. Your energy depends entirely on external events. Someone praises you, you're happy. Someone criticizes you, you're crushed. This is emotional childhood, living on autopilot, running the same reactive programs you learned years ago. The problem is you can't fix what you don't see. So people here often don't even realize they're reactive. They blame others, circumstances, or bad luck. They think this is just who I am. But that's not who you are. That's just who you've practiced being. Level 2. Conscious reaction. The observer wakes up. This is the beginning of awareness. You still react, but now you notice it. You say something harsh, and a voice inside says, I didn't need to say that. You send an angry message, and regret follows. You still lose control, but now you see it. That small moment of awareness is real progress. It means the observer inside you is waking up. It means you're starting to separate from your emotions. You begin to realize, I am not my anger. I am not my fear. I am not my anxiety. I am the one watching it. At this level, guilt appears. You feel bad for reacting, but that is not failure. That is growth. It means you're seeing your patterns, and what you see, you can change. The key here is awareness without judgment. Don't attack yourself. Just observe. What triggered me? What did I believe? What did I need? You are shifting from reacting to understanding, and that changes everything. Level 3, conscious response, the space of power. This is where mastery begins. You still feel emotions, but now you can pause. Anger rises, but you breathe. You feel insulted, but you stay calm. You feel anxious, but you ground yourself. Emotion becomes information, not instruction. You listen, but you don't obey. Anger shows a boundary. Fear shows growth. Sadness shows meaning. You begin using emotions as feedback, not commands. You use tools: pause, breathing, reframing, awareness. You don't suppress emotions, you guide them. A person here might say, I still feel everything, but it doesn't control me. I still get triggered, but I recover quickly. That is power. Because mastery is not about never feeling, it's about never being controlled. At this level, your relationships improve. You argue less, you listen more. People see you as calm, but they don't see the work behind that calm. Level 4, emotional alchemy, the creator state. This is the highest level. You don't just control emotions, you transform them. Anger becomes energy. Fear becomes focus. Sadness becomes compassion. Frustration becomes determination. Emotions become allies, not enemies. You stop resisting, you start using. When something goes wrong, you ask, what can this teach me? You stop seeing emotions as problems and start seeing them as power. This is emotional balance, where wisdom leads and emotion follows. People at this level radiate calm, even in chaos. Their presence feels safe. Their energy influences others without effort. Their calm spreads. Their presence changes the room. How to move between levels. Growth is not linear. You may move forward and fall back. That is normal. Growth is repetition plus awareness. Step 1, notice the pattern. Step 2, reflect on the trigger. Step 3, pause and choose differently. Step 4, repeat until it becomes natural. Every repetition builds control. Ask yourself, do I regret my reactions? That is level 1. Do I notice after reacting? That is level 2. Do I pause before reacting? That is level 3. Do I use emotions to grow? That is level 4. Most people move between level 2 and 3, and that's okay. The goal is progress, not perfection. Here is the paradox. The higher you go, the calmer you become, but also stronger. At level 1, you react. At level 2, you regret. At level 3, you pause. At level 4, you transform. Reaction is loud. Mastery is quiet. Stillness is not weakness, it is power. Your emotions are not obstacles, they are signals. Every trigger shows where you can grow. You cannot stop emotions, but you can guide them. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. You cannot avoid challenges, but you can grow through them. This is the journey from reaction to creation, and this is just the beginning.
You'll learn how to stop your brain from hijacking your peace and how to respond like a master in just 4 steps. Because the power to stay calm isn't in the moment you feel nothing. It's in the moment you feel everything and still choose peace. Imagine this. You're in a meeting. Someone says something that cuts deep. You feel your face heat up. Your heart starts pounding. Every muscle screams, defend yourself. You can almost hear your mind yelling, say something. Don't let them get away with that. That's the moment. The split second when the amygdala tries to take the wheel. Your emotional brain is ready to hijack your calm, your logic, your peace. And this is where you use your emergency brake, a method called STOP. 4 letters, 4 seconds, a lifetime of control. S. Stop. The first step sounds simple, but it's the hardest to do. You just stop. Freeze the reaction. Don't move. Don't speak. Don't type that reply. In that pause, you interrupt the emotional pattern. You break the link between impulse and action. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they don't pause. One pause can save your job, your relationship, your reputation. Stopping doesn't mean suppressing. It means giving yourself a moment to choose your next move. You're not running away. You're reclaiming control. It's like pulling the emergency brake before your train crashes. Here's the line you can say in your mind: I'm not going to react yet. That single thought keeps your power where it belongs, with you. T. Take a breath. When emotions rise, your breath shortens, your chest tightens. Your brain interprets this as danger and floods your body with stress chemicals. That's why the next step is to breathe. Not a random breath, a deliberate one. Slow, deep, through the nose. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, exhale for 6. This isn't spiritual fluff, it's neuroscience. Deep breathing activates the vagus nerve, the body's built-in calm switch. It signals your nervous system you're safe. As oxygen floods your brain, the prefrontal cortex, your logic center, comes back online, and suddenly the world looks different. The email isn't a threat, the comment isn't personal, the problem isn't permanent. You've bought yourself time, and time equals clarity. O. Observe. Now you look inward. You don't judge, you notice. What am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? What story is my mind telling me? This is emotional awareness, the step that transforms reactivity into understanding. When you observe without judgment, you weaken the emotion's grip. Anger becomes just a sensation in the chest. Fear becomes just a vibration in the gut. Shame becomes just heat in the face. Labeling your feelings turns the unknown into the known, and the known loses power. Try this line in your mind: I'm noticing anger. It's just energy. It will pass. That simple act of observation moves your focus from the storm to the sky above it. You stop being the emotion and start watching it. That's awareness, and awareness is power. P. Proceed. Now that your brain is calm, you can move forward consciously. You've stopped the hijack. You've taken control back from your instincts. Now you decide what's the smartest next move. Sometimes it's speaking calmly. Sometimes it's walking away. Sometimes it's doing nothing. But whatever you choose, it's a choice, not a reflex. And that difference is everything. You've gone from reaction to response, from chaos to clarity. You've turned a fight or flight moment into a leadership moment. A real example. Let's see this in action. You get an email from your boss. The tone feels harsh. Your heart rate jumps. You start typing a fiery reply. Then you remember STOP. You pause. You breathe. You read the email slowly. You notice your body relax. You realize the message isn't an attack. It's just direct. You reply professionally. The situation ends in 2 lines instead of a week of tension. That's what mastery looks like in real life. Quiet victories no one sees, but that change everything. The science behind the pause. Why does STOP work so well? Because it hacks your brain's wiring. When you stop, you interrupt the amygdala's command. When you breathe, you restore oxygen to your thinking brain. When you observe, you engage the prefrontal cortex. When you proceed, you make a decision from awareness, not emotion. In just 10 seconds, you shift from survival mode to strategic mode. That shift, repeated daily, rewires your brain. You're training your mind to choose peace over panic. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change based on repetition.
Each time you apply STOP, you strengthen your emotional control. Over time, calm becomes your default. Practice makes automatic. At first, you'll forget, you'll react and remember later. That's okay. Every time you notice, you're building awareness. Start small. Next argument, next traffic jam, next tough email. Practice the pause. Here's a simple challenge. Use STOP once, even for 5 seconds. Say in your mind, stop, breathe, observe, proceed. Do it again tomorrow, then again the next day. In a week, you'll feel the difference. In a month, others will notice it too. You'll become the calm one, the person who doesn't flinch under pressure, the person who responds instead of reacts. That reputation, that peace, starts with one habit. Common mistakes to avoid. Don't rush the process. Every step matters. Don't skip stop. If you jump straight to reacting, you miss the pause. Don't fake the breath. A shallow inhale won't calm your system. Breathe slow and deep. Feel your body. Don't judge your emotions. You're not weak for feeling. You're human. Observation is not judgment, it's understanding. Don't overthink. Proceed. You don't need the perfect response, just a conscious one. When you master the pause, the real goal isn't controlling everything, it's controlling your presence, because presence is power. When others react, you stay calm, and that makes you the leader. People trust your energy, they listen differently, they reflect your calm. That's emotional mastery. Your peace helps others find theirs. Your challenge today? The next time you're triggered, remember you don't owe the world an instant reaction. You owe yourself a conscious one. Pause, even for one breath. That single moment can change your entire day, because one deep breath can be the difference between breakdown and breakthrough. In the next chapter, we go deeper into resilience, how to train your brain to stay calm before chaos even begins.
You'll learn how stress training, exposure, and focus rituals build an emotional shield that lasts a lifetime. But first, pause, breathe. Notice how calm feels. That's you taking back control. That's the power of STOP. Let's be honest, staying calm when life is peaceful is easy. Anyone can meditate on a quiet morning with soft music and coffee, but the real test of emotional control isn't the calm, it's the chaos, the argument, the pressure, the unexpected hit that knocks the wind out of you. That's when emotional mastery either shows up or disappears. So the question is, how do you train for those moments before they happen? How do you build a mind that stays steady when everything else is falling apart? The answer is stress inoculation. What it means. Stress inoculation is exactly what it sounds like a vaccine for your nervous system. You expose yourself to controlled doses of stress so that real stress no longer overwhelms you. Think of it like this. When you lift weights, you don't do it because you love pain. You do it because the tiny micro tears in your muscles make you stronger afterward. The same thing happens emotionally. Small, intentional doses of stress, handled correctly, make your mind anti-fragile. Instead of breaking under pressure, you adapt. Instead of fearing challenge, you start craving it. You stop saying, "I hope life gets easier," and start saying, "I hope I get stronger." Why stress feels so overwhelming? When most people face stress, they assume something's wrong. Their body tenses, their breathing shortens, their brain screams, "I can't handle this." But here's what neuroscience says. Stress isn't the enemy. It's a signal, a training cue. Your nervous system is designed to handle stress as long as you give it direction. The real problem isn't stress itself, it's the lack of practice with it. Modern life keeps us comfortable, distracted, and overstimulated, but rarely tested. So when pressure hits, your system reacts like a fire alarm that's never been used. How to rewire your response to stress. To master stress, you need to redefine it. Instead of labeling stress as bad, start labeling it as activation energy. Say it out loud. This isn't panic, it's power.
because that's exactly what's happening when you feel stress. Your body floods with adrenaline and cortisol, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Your senses sharpen, your focus narrows, your body gets ready for action. It's not danger, it's data. It's your body saying, "We're alive, let's move." Once you stop fighting the sensation, you start using it. Step 1. Controlled exposure. Start small. Pick low-stakes situations that trigger discomfort and practice staying calm. It could be taking a cold shower for 1 minute, speaking first in a meeting, leaving your phone face down for an hour, saying no when you usually say yes. The goal isn't comfort, it's calibration. You're teaching your body, this feeling isn't danger, it's growth. Every time you endure discomfort without reacting, your nervous system learns to stay grounded under pressure. You're expanding your tolerance window, the zone where you stay calm no matter what happens around you. Step 2. Breath under fire. Elite performers train one reflex, calm breathing under stress, because when breath stays calm, the brain stays clear. Try this. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Longer exhale activates recovery mode. You're telling your system, "I feel pressure, but I'm still in control." Do this often and your body learns stress is not danger, it's opportunity. Step 3. Visualization training. Your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality, so use it. Close your eyes, picture a high-pressure moment, a confrontation, a presentation, a sudden problem. Feel the tension, then imagine yourself calm, breathing, responding with control. You're building mental patterns, rehearsing calm until it becomes natural. That's how athletes perform. They've already lived it in their mind. Do this daily and your system learns, "We've been here before. We know what to do." Step 4. Physical resilience. Your body and emotions are one system. If your body is weak, your emotions follow. Exercise raises your threshold. Sleep restores control. Nutrition stabilizes mood. Hydration sharpens thinking. You can't separate mind from body. A calm mind lives in a balanced body. Move daily. Rest intentionally. Fuel wisely. This is not vanity, it's strategy. Step 5. Mental framing. You don't experience stress based on what happens. You experience it based on what you believe about what happens. Two people, same situation, different outcome. The difference, meaning. If stress is enemy, you resist. If stress is teacher, you grow. Change your language. This is not too much. This is training. You don't need to enjoy it. You just need to respect it. Building the stress muscle. Emotional strength is like a gym. You don't train once, you train consistently under tension until you adapt. Each moment of stress is a repetition. Each repetition builds strength. Say this, "I'm not breaking down, I'm leveling up," because every stressful moment is training. Real-life application. Imagine a firefighter walking into fire, heart racing, adrenaline high, but every move is controlled. That's trained calm. Now imagine your own fire, a hard conversation, a setback, a failure. You don't need to be fearless, you need to be centered. That's what this training gives you. Calm in chaos, not by luck, by repetition. When calm becomes default, the more you practice, the faster you recover. Stress no longer controls you. Your baseline shifts. What once caused panic now feels like challenge. What once overwhelmed you now sharpens you. You've rewired your nervous system to see stress as signal, not threat. That's when you stop surviving and start leading. Closing thought. True emotional mastery isn't avoiding stress, it's using it. Every discomfort expands you. Every challenge trains you. Every storm teaches stability. So don't run from pressure, train for it.
When you do, life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something you happen to. That's the gift of stress inoculation, the freedom to stay calm when the world loses its mind. In the next chapter, we'll explore cognitive reframing, how to change the way you see problems so they lose their power over you. Because once you master your perspective, you master everything.
There's a moment right before you lose control when your mind tells a story, and that story decides everything. It's not the event that breaks you, it's the meaning you attach to it. Two people face the same storm. One says, "This is the end." The other says, "This is where I get stronger." Same storm, different story, different outcome. That's the power of cognitive reframing. It's not about ignoring reality. It's about interpreting it in a way that keeps you powerful. The brain's default storyteller. Your brain is a storyteller, a fast, dramatic, emotional storyteller. It's been trained to predict danger. It's been trained to protect you, not empower you. When something goes wrong, your brain rushes to write the first story it can. This is bad. This is unfair. I can't handle this. But here's the thing. The first story is almost always wrong. It's based on fear, not facts. Cognitive reframing means slowing down the storyteller. You take the pen back. You rewrite the narrative, consciously. The formula for reframing. Every situation has two parts: what actually happened, what you told yourself about what happened. The first part is objective, the second part is interpretation, and that's where your power lies. Here's the formula: event, meaning, emotion, behavior. If you change the meaning, you change the emotion. Change the emotion, and you change your behavior. Change your behavior, and your entire life changes. Simple, profound, true. Example, the missed opportunity. You applied for a job, didn't get it. Your first thought, "I'm not good enough." That thought triggers disappointment. Disappointment triggers withdrawal. You stop applying. You shrink. Now, reframe it. "I didn't get that job because I'm being redirected to something better." Same event, new meaning. That meaning sparks curiosity, motivation, energy. The result? You take action instead of giving up. That's not delusion, that's direction. You're not lying to yourself, you're choosing the frame that serves your growth. Reframing in real time. Here's how to do it in the moment. When something triggers, you pause and ask 3 questions. 1. What story am I telling myself right now? Maybe it's "they disrespected me." Maybe it's "I always fail." 2. Is that story helping me or hurting me? If it's fueling anxiety or anger, it's the wrong frame. 3. What's another story that could also be true? Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe this is my chance to improve. Your brain resists at first. It wants the old narrative, the one that feels familiar. But with practice, reframing becomes automatic. You train yourself to look for power stories, not victim stories. The 3 kinds of frames. Let's break reframing down even deeper. There are 3 levels. 1. Perspective frame. This is happening for me. At this level, you ask, what if this challenge isn't punishment, but preparation? The traffic jam teaches patience. The failure teaches resilience. The heartbreak teaches clarity. Life isn't against you, it's shaping you. 2. Meaning frame. What does this make possible? Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What now?" Every setback opens a door. Sometimes the loss you fear most clears the path you needed most. The job you didn't get gives you freedom for a better one. The relationship that ended gives you space to grow. Meaning is everything. 3. Identity frame. Who am I choosing to be right now? This is the deepest reframe. When chaos hits, you ask, who do I want to be in this moment? Calm, centered, strategic, compassionate. Identity reframing turns pain into purpose instantly because you stop reacting to circumstances and start creating character. The neuroscience of reframing. Here's what's really happening in your brain when you reframe. You shift activity from the amygdala, the fear center, to the prefrontal cortex, the logic center. You're literally changing which part of your brain runs the show. You can't think your way out of panic while you're panicking, but you can slow down the story, and the brain follows your lead. This is why mindfulness, journaling, and reflection work so well. They create a mental gap, a pause where reframing becomes possible. The more you practice, the faster your brain learns to do it automatically. Eventually, stress hits and you reframe instantly. That's emotional agility.
Common cognitive traps. To master reframing, you have to know your enemies, the mental distortions that hijack perception. Here are 3 of the worst. 1. Catastrophizing, turning small problems into global disasters. I messed up the meeting becomes my career is over. Reality check? It's not. 2. Personalization, taking things personally that aren't about you. They didn't text back becomes they don't care about me. Reality check? Maybe they're just busy. 3. All or nothing thinking, believing success or failure defines everything. I failed once becomes I'm a failure. Reality check? You're learning. When you spot these distortions, laugh at them, seriously. Humor breaks their power. You can't take your inner drama seriously if you're laughing at it. The warrior's mindset. Reframing isn't about toxic positivity, it's about strategic perception. A warrior doesn't deny the battlefield. They see the same chaos everyone else does, but they interpret it differently. To the untrained mind, challenge equals threat. To the master, challenge equals training. When life tests you, it's not asking, can you handle it? It's asking, will you grow through it? That's the mindset of mastery. Daily practice, the 3R method. Here's how to make reframing a daily habit. Recognize, notice when your thoughts turn negative. Catch yourself mid-story. Reframe, ask what else could this mean? Choose the frame that gives you power, peace, or purpose. Repeat, do it again tomorrow and the next day. Consistency rewires the brain. Simple, practical, life-changing. Reframing in relationships, this is where the real magic happens. Instead of they're attacking me, reframe it as they're hurting. Instead of they don't listen, try they don't feel heard. You stop reacting to words and start responding to emotions. You become less defensive, more curious, less judgmental, more compassionate. That shift transforms every conversation because empathy is just reframing applied to people. Closing reflection. You don't control what happens, you control what it means. That's your superpower. That's the difference between chaos and calm, victimhood and victory, reaction and creation. So next time life throws something heavy your way, don't ask why me, ask what is this teaching me? Because meaning creates resilience and reframing creates freedom. The most powerful people on earth aren't the ones who avoid storms. They're the ones who see storms as training grounds. That's how you stop being a passenger of emotion and start becoming the pilot of perception. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into laser focus, how to train your attention to cut through chaos and lock on to what truly matters.
Because emotional mastery isn't just about how you feel. It's about what you focus on. Your mind is a spotlight. Where it shines, life grows. Where it doesn't, things fade. The problem is, most people don't control their spotlight. It jumps from fear to distraction, to worry, to noise, like a flashlight in a storm, shaking, unfocused, and weak. But those who master their focus, those who can aim their attention like a laser, they become unstoppable, because energy flows where attention goes. The myth of multitasking. Let's start with a truth your brain doesn't want to admit. You can't multitask. When you think you're multitasking, what you're actually doing is rapid task switching, jumping from one thought to another over and over. Each jump burns mental fuel. Each switch costs clarity. Each distraction makes you weaker. Research shows that every time you switch tasks, it takes your brain up to 20 minutes to fully refocus. 20 minutes! That's like leaking focus every time your phone lights up. So if you want mastery, start here. Stop scattering your mind. Protect your attention like it's gold, because it is. Attention is the new currency in the modern world. Attention is the most valuable resource you own. Companies spend billions fighting for it. Social media feeds are designed to steal it, and anxiety thrives on hijacking it. The result?
We live in a world of mental poverty. People are rich in information, but broke in focus. Laser focus is how you take your mind back. It's not about intensity, it's about direction. When your attention is clear, your emotions follow, your thoughts align, your actions compound. Focus turns chaos into clarity. The science of focus. Here's how it works. Inside your brain is a network called the reticular activating system, the RAS. Its job is simple: filter what you pay attention to. When you decide something matters, your RAS starts scanning the world for it. It's why after buying a new car, you suddenly see that car everywhere. Your brain isn't showing you new things, it's just filtering based on what you've told it is important. So ask yourself, what instructions have you given your mind? If your dominant thought is, "I'm overwhelmed," your RAS will find proof everywhere. If your focus is, "I can handle this," your brain will find solutions instead of problems. Whatever you feed your focus, your reality expands. The three enemies of focus. If focus is your weapon, these are the thieves trying to disarm you. 1. Distraction. Notifications, constant scrolling. It's mental junk food. Each distraction seems harmless, but collectively they kill deep thought. Focus dies not from one big distraction, but from 1,000 tiny ones. To fix it, design your environment. Silence notifications, close extra tabs, create focus zones, time blocks where nothing gets through. When you protect your focus, you protect your peace. 2. Overthinking. Sometimes distraction comes from the outside. Other times it comes from your own mind. Overthinking is attention turned against itself. You analyze, you replay, you imagine every worst-case scenario and call it being prepared. But thinking without action is just mental noise. To escape it, do this. Ask, what's the next smallest action I can take? Then do it immediately. Action cuts through analysis. 3. Emotional hijacking. Ever notice how focus disappears when emotions take over? Anger, anxiety, fear, they flood your system, your mind scatters. That's why emotional control and focus are inseparable. You can't focus when your nervous system is in chaos. Before focusing your mind, regulate your state. Breathe, move, reset. Then aim your attention again. Steady, sharp, deliberate. The art of laser focus. Laser focus isn't about ignoring the world. It's about controlling what deserves your energy. Here's the process. Step 1. Clarify the target. Ask yourself, what actually matters right now? Focus without clarity is like running fast in the wrong direction. Step 2. Eliminate noise. Identify the distractions that weaken you. Physical, digital, emotional. Remove them like toxins. Step 3. Narrow the window. Work in short, intense bursts. 25 to 50 minutes of deep focus, then rest. That rhythm, focus, rest, focus, keeps the mind sharp. Step 4. Anchor the mind. When your mind drifts, bring it back, again and again. The act of returning is the training. Each time you refocus, you strengthen your mental muscles. Step 5. Protect recovery. Even lasers overheat. True focus includes rest, reflection, and renewal. The flow state. At peak focus, something extraordinary happens. You enter flow. Time dissolves, distractions fade, action feels effortless. This isn't magic, it's biology. Flow occurs when your challenge level matches your skill level. Too easy, you get bored. Too hard, you get anxious.
just right, you lose yourself in the task. That's the sweet spot of mastery. The key is presence. When you're fully engaged in this moment, not worrying about the future, not replaying the past, you become unstoppable. Flow is focus made beautiful. Attention training. Daily practice. Focus is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows with repetition. Here are 3 daily drills. 1. The one thing practice. Pick one task, set a timer for 10 minutes, do nothing else. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That's 1 rep. 2. The 3-minute breathe reset. 3 minutes, deep, steady breathing. Inhale 4 seconds, exhale 6. Notice the mind settle. You've reset the system. 3. The evening review. Before bed, ask, what had my attention today? If it wasn't, what truly mattered? Adjust tomorrow's focus. Small adjustments daily, massive clarity long term. The power of saying no. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing less better. Every yes is 1,000 silent no's. Every commitment divides your energy. The master isn't the one who says yes to everything. It's the one who says no to almost everything, so they can say hell yes to what truly matters. Remember, you can do anything, but not everything. When focus meets emotion. Here's where the magic happens. When your emotions and focus align, you enter mastery. Emotion gives energy. Focus gives direction. Without emotion, focus feels empty. Without focus, emotion becomes chaos. But when the two merge, that's power. That's presence. That's purpose. You're no longer reacting to life. You're sculpting it with attention. Closing reflection. Your focus is your freedom. You can't control the world, but you can control what you look at. You can't erase chaos, but you can choose your spotlight. And what you choose to see becomes the story of your life. So guard your attention like your future depends on it, because it does. Every distraction resisted is a step toward mastery. Every moment of presence is a win against chaos. Where attention goes, growth flows.
So point your spotlight with purpose and watch your entire life light up. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into emotional granularity, how to name your emotions with surgical precision so you can manage them with power, because you can't control what you can't define. Most people don't feel their emotions clearly. They just say they're stressed, tired, or upset. But those words are vague. They blur everything together like painting with mud. Here's the truth. You can't manage what you can't name. You can't master what you can't measure. The secret to emotional control isn't avoiding feelings, it's understanding them. That's what emotional granularity is all about. It's the skill of naming your emotions precisely so you can work with them intelligently. Why naming changes everything. When you name a feeling, you separate from it. You shift from I am angry to I'm noticing anger. That tiny change changes everything. The first statement is identity. The second is awareness. Identity traps you. Awareness frees you. In your brain, something powerful happens when you label emotion. The amygdala, your emotional alarm center, starts to quiet down. The prefrontal cortex, your reasoning center, lights up. That means language literally calms the nervous system. Words give structure to chaos. Labels create clarity. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, don't rush to label it bad. Ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? Is it disappointment, frustration, helplessness, regret? Don't analyze, just name. Step 2. Go one level deeper.
Now ask, what's underneath that? For example, I'm frustrated because I feel unappreciated. I'm anxious because I'm uncertain about the future. I'm sad because I miss what used to be. Each layer you uncover increases clarity. Step 3. Reflect, don't react. Once you've identified it, breathe. You've already won half the battle. You've turned raw emotion into information. Then decide, what do I need right now? Not what do I feel like doing, but what would actually help me move forward. That's emotional maturity. Example, from chaos to clarity. You're about to give a big presentation. Your hands are shaking. Your mind's racing. You say, I'm nervous. But if you go deeper, you realize you're not afraid of speaking. You're afraid of judgment, not of the task, but of rejection. Once you name it accurately, you can address it directly. You remind yourself, I'm prepared. I've earned this moment. I'm here to serve. The anxiety fades. Focus returns. That's the alchemy of naming. The emotion journal. Here's a practical tool. Keep an emotion journal for 2 weeks. Every time you feel triggered, write down what happened, what you felt, name it precisely, what you needed in that moment, how you responded. Patterns will appear. You'll start to see what consistently activates you and how you can regulate better next time. Awareness builds mastery, and mastery builds freedom from suppression. From suppression to transformation. Most people handle emotions in 2 wrong ways: suppression or explosion. Suppression, I'm fine. Explosion, I can't take this anymore. Both create damage. Granularity gives you a third path, transformation. You acknowledge what you feel, understand its message, and act intelligently. That's how emotional energy becomes emotional power. The leadership of naming. When you can name emotions in yourself, you start recognizing them in others. You see that anger is often fear, that criticism is often pain, that silence is often sadness. You stop taking things personally. You start leading with empathy. That's why emotional granularity isn't just self-mastery, it's social mastery. People trust those who can name the unspoken. They feel safe around those who understand what others only feel. Closing reflection. Language shapes emotion. Emotion shapes perception. Perception shapes reality. So when you expand your emotional vocabulary, you don't just understand yourself better, you expand your world. Each new word is a new lens. Each new label is a new level of freedom. You can't stop storms from coming, but you can learn to name them. And once you can name the storm, you stop being afraid of it, because now it has boundaries. Now it has meaning. And now you have control. That's the quiet strength of emotional granularity, the art of turning chaos into clarity. In the next chapter, we'll move into process focus versus outcome focus, how to stop obsessing over results and fall in love with the work itself. Because mastery isn't built in the spotlight, it's built in the process. Everyone wants to win. Few want to work. We crave the result, not the repetition, the spotlight, not the solitude, the celebration, not the climb. But here's the truth. Success is never in the outcome. It's always in the process. The world sees the trophy. You build it in the dark. The obsession that destroys performance. When pressure rises, most people obsess over results. They think, what if I fail? What will they think of me? What if I am not good enough? That mindset kills focus. It divides your attention. It replaces presence with panic. You stop doing what you are doing and start judging what you are doing. That is how fear hijacks excellence. Every athlete knows this. The moment you start thinking about the score, you stop playing your best game. True performers focus on the next move, not the final result. Process is peace. Outcome focus creates anxiety because it is built on things you cannot control. You cannot control people's opinions. You cannot control timing. You cannot control luck. But you can control your effort, your preparation, your execution. That is the process. When your mind lives in the process, peace follows, because the process is present. It's here now. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. Mastery lives in the moment. Picture a surfer riding a massive wave. If he thinks about the crowd, he falls. If he thinks about the end of the wave, he loses rhythm. But when he's inside the process, feeling the movement, reading the water, adjusting in real time, he becomes one with the flow. That is what mastery feels like: complete presence, total surrender to the moment. You don't control the wave, you ride it. That is process focus. Big goals are inspiring, but they can also be intimidating. When you focus only on the end goal, the mountain looks too high. But when you focus on the next step, the climb becomes possible. Process thinkers break everything down. Don't focus on writing a book, focus on one paragraph. Don't focus on running a marathon, focus on the next breath. Don't focus on being great, focus on getting better. Mastery is built in micro moments, tiny victories that grow over time. Each day you show up, each time you practice intentionally, each repetition done with awareness, that is the process shaping you. When you fall in love with that, you stop chasing motivation because consistency becomes your nature. Detach from the outcome. The more you let go of the result, the better the result becomes, because tension kills performance. When you obsess over winning, your body tightens, your breath shortens, your creativity shrinks. But when you release attachment, you enter flow. You stop performing for something and start performing from something. You stop proving and start expressing. That is freedom. Define what you can control. Focus your energy there. Let everything else go. You cannot control the audience, but you can control your preparation. You cannot control the weather, but you can control your response. Clarity creates calm. Create rituals. Rituals bring your mind back to the process before important moments. Writers brew tea. Athletes stretch. Speakers breathe deeply. It's not superstition, it's grounding. Rituals tell your nervous system, we have done this before, we are safe. Measure effort, not outcome. Don't ask, did I win? Ask, did I execute my plan? Judge yourself by consistency, by discipline, not by applause. When you measure what you control, you always have power. Process focus improves performance, but it also heals your relationship with yourself. Failure becomes feedback. If you fail, you learn. If you win, you grow. Either way, you move forward. The goal was never perfection. The goal was progress. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The process never ends. Even masters keep practicing, because mastery isn't a destination, it's a devotion. When you stop chasing the finish line, you start enjoying the run. And when you fall in love with the run, you go farther than anyone chasing the medal. The process becomes meditation. Every breath, every step, every repetition brings your mind back to the present. When you stop chasing outcomes, you achieve more, because all your energy moves in one direction. Detach from the result. Attach to the rhythm. Don't ask, when will I get there? Ask, how can I show up better today? Peace is not found at the top of the mountain. It's found in every step of the climb. When you master the process, the outcome takes care of itself. Success lives in the climb, not the finish line.
When you learn to see clearly, you stop reacting to people's behavior and start understanding their pain. You realize that everyone's actions come from what they see, and most people are just reacting to their own blind spots. That realization softens you.
You stop taking everything personally. You stop needing to win every argument. Because clarity reveals something deeper than being right. It reveals understanding. If X happens, then I'll do Y. It's simple, but it trains your brain to stay composed in chaos. Example, if my project fails, then I'll review, reset, and rebuild in 48 hours. If someone attacks me verbally, then I'll breathe before speaking. If my flight gets canceled, then I'll find a quiet spot and rebook calmly. This creates pre-decisions, choices made before emotion enters the picture. So when life hits hard, you don't react, you execute. Anticipate, don't obsess. Planning doesn't mean expecting disaster. It means being too grounded to be surprised. There's a balance. Plan with logic, not paranoia. Anticipate with intelligence, not anxiety. You can prepare for rain without fearing storms every day. You can build confidence without living in caution. Preparation isn't pessimism, it's power in disguise. How to build emotional contingency plans. Here's a simple framework for life's unpredictable moments. Step 1. Identify the triggers. Ask, what situations throw me off balance? The fastest arguments, failure, rejection, uncertainty? Write them down. Awareness is the first layer of calm. Step 2. Predefine your response. Now, for each trigger, decide what you'll do next time. If I feel criticized, pause, breathe, don't defend. If I make a mistake, acknowledge, analyze, adjust. If someone lashes out, observe, not absorb. That's your playbook for composure. Step 3. Rehearse calm. Close your eyes, visualize the trigger. Feel the heat, the frustration, the panic. Then imagine yourself staying centered, breathing, thinking clearly, acting wisely. That's not daydreaming, that's training your nervous system. You're teaching your brain what calm feels like under stress. The pre-mortem technique. One of the most powerful tools used by high performers is called the pre-mortem. Instead of asking, what if this goes right, you ask, what could make this go wrong and how would I handle it? It sounds negative, but it's the opposite. It's proactive. By visualizing failure before it happens, you uncover weak spots in your plan. You strengthen your systems before they're tested. You stop reacting and start anticipating. It's not fear, it's foresight. Overcoming the "it'll never happen" trap. Most people skip planning because they think, that'll never happen to me. But when life hits, they're the ones least ready. The emotionally intelligent don't ask if bad things will happen. They ask how they'll respond when they do. This isn't pessimism. It's leadership. It's emotional maturity. The storm always exposes the difference between the prepared and the panicked. Plan for failure. Celebrate flexibility. Here's the paradox. Planning for chaos actually makes you more adaptable, not rigid. Because when you know what to do if Plan A fails, you can flow easily into Plan B. And that flexibility is freedom. It's why experienced climbers prepare ropes, backups, and alternate routes, not because they expect to fall, but because they respect the mountain. Life works the same way. Respect the climb, respect the chaos. Prepare, then release. The calm leader effect. When you have contingency plans, your calm becomes contagious. Teams mirror the leader's energy. Families mirror the parent's state. Friends mirror your tone. When everyone else panics, the one with a plan becomes the anchor. You can't fake that. Calm under pressure is earned through preparation, repeated so many times that it becomes your nature. Recovery plans matter too. Preparation isn't just about prevention, it's about recovery after chaos. You need structure to reset. Ask yourself, how will I decompress after high-stress situations? What rituals bring me back to balance? Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's silence. Whatever restores your baseline, schedule it like a priority, not an afterthought, because calm after chaos is as important as calm during it. Closing reflection. The storm will come. It always does. But when it does, you won't flinch, because you've trained your mind to expect turbulence and stay steady anyway. That's not luck, that's preparation. Preparation turns fear into foresight, and foresight into freedom. It transforms "what if" from a phrase of anxiety into a tool of strategy. So plan for the storm, then live with peace, because the most powerful calm is the one you built before the chaos began. In the next chapter, we'll explore recovery and reflection, how to restore your mental energy, learn from experience, and turn every setback into a setup for growth. Because even warriors need to rest. You can't perform like a warrior if you recover like a rookie. Rest isn't weakness. Rest is reset. It's the silent discipline behind every long-term success. In a world that worships constant motion, recovery has become rebellion. But here's the paradox. The best don't grind harder, they recover deeper. The myth of endless hustle. You've been told to never stop, to push through the pain, to sleep when you're dead. But that's not strength. That's burnout disguised as ambition. Even machines overheat. Even fire burns out when the oxygen is gone. Rest isn't the opposite of progress. It's part of the process. Without it, your body breaks down. Your focus fades. Your emotions spiral. You start running on fumes, reacting, not responding. That's not mastery. That's survival. The science of recovery. Your mind and body are systems, and systems need cycles. After intensive effort, your nervous system shifts into sympathetic mode, fight, flight, perform. But to grow, it must return to parasympathetic mode, rest, digest, repair. That's where healing happens. That's where insight forms. That's where wisdom is born. Without recovery, effort becomes erosion. Peak performance isn't about intensity. It's about balance between stress and rest. Push, recover, repeat. That's how champions are made. Rest is an active skill. Rest doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the right kind of nothing. There's passive rest, sleep, stillness, silence, and active rest, walking, reflection, gratitude, art, connection. Both matter. Sleep resets the body. Reflection resets the mind. Connection resets the soul. The goal isn't just to pause, it's to renew. Reflection, the forgotten half of mastery. Every experience teaches something, but only if you stop long enough to hear the lesson. That's what reflection is, turning life into learning. Without reflection, life repeats itself. With reflection, life refines itself. It's how wisdom forms from experience, not by time, but by attention.
You don't grow from what happens. You grow from what you understand about what happens. The daily reflection habit. At the end of each day, take 5 quiet minutes and ask yourself, what went well today? What challenged me and why? What did I learn about myself? What will I do differently tomorrow? Write it down. This small ritual rewires your brain for awareness. It moves you from autopilot to authorship. Instead of living the same day 365 times, you live 365 versions of yourself, each one wiser than the last. That's what reflection does. Micro-recovery moment. You don't need a vacation to recharge. You need micro-recoveries built into your day. 1 deep breath before a meeting. 5 minutes of silence before you sleep. A walk after conflict. A stretch between tasks. Small resets prevent big breakdowns. Recovery isn't a weekend activity. It's a daily responsibility.
If you wait until you're exhausted to rest, you've waited too long. Emotional recovery. When emotions hit hard, most people either suppress or explode. Neither restores peace. Emotional recovery means creating space to process, not to escape. You pause, you breathe, you name what you feel. You let it pass through, not pile up. Every emotion you process today is one less that controls you tomorrow. Don't carry storms that ended yesterday. Mental recovery. The power of stillness. Silence is the training ground of clarity. In stillness, your thoughts settle, your mind declutters, your intuition speaks. But silence feels uncomfortable because it removes distractions that hide your truth. Sit with it. Listen to it. That's where the next version of you begins. You can't hear your inner voice if the world never stops talking. Physical recovery. You can't separate emotional calm from physical care. Move daily, sleep deeply, hydrate often. Your body isn't a tool, it's your environment. If the environment is chaotic, the mind can't be calm. You don't need luxury, you need rhythm. Stretch in the morning, eat with awareness, sleep with intention. When you care for the body, the mind thanks you with clarity. Rebuilding after burnout. Maybe you've already burned out. Maybe you've been running on empty for too long. It's okay. You don't need to start over, you just need to slow down. Begin with rest, real rest, not distraction. Then rebuild your routines slowly. Wake, move, breathe, reflect, sleep. Burnout isn't a failure, it's feedback. It's life saying you've been giving everything but yourself. Now you know better. Now you build wiser. Rest as a competitive edge. Most people treat rest as a reward. Masters treat it as a weapon. When others burn out, you're just getting started because you've recovered. When others react, you respond because you're rested. Rest doesn't slow you down, it sharpens you. Think of it as reloading, not retreating. You can't win a long game with an exhausted mind. Closing reflection. You are not a machine. You are an ecosystem. If one part collapses, everything feels it. Every part, mind, body, emotion, spirit. Rest isn't where the journey stops, it's where wisdom settles. Recovery keeps you sustainable. Reflection keeps you self-aware. Together, they make you unstoppable. Because the true mark of mastery isn't how fast you move, it's how deeply you recover. So rest. Not to escape life, but to return to it more powerful. That's recovery. That's reflection. That's your superpower. Take a deep breath. You made it. You've walked through the battlefield of emotion, through pressure, fear, anger, and chaos. And you've learned the truth. Control doesn't mean suppression, it means choice. Reaction is survival. Response is power. Every time you choose calm over chaos, awareness over impulse, and focus over fear, you take your power back. That's emotional mastery. You are the storm and the stillness. Remember this. The goal was never to become emotionless. It was to become unshakable. You'll still feel anger. You'll still feel fear. You'll still feel pain. But now you won't become those feelings. You'll witness them. You'll use them. You'll transform them. Because calm isn't weakness, it's precision. It's the power to act with intention when everyone else is losing control. That's what separates leaders from followers, creators from reactors, masters from amateurs. The future belongs to the calm. Look around. The world is addicted to reaction. People argue before they think. They post before they pause. They speak before they understand. But you will be different. Because when others rush to respond, you will breathe. When others fight to be right, you will seek to be wise. When others crumble under pressure, you will stand still, clear, calm, and unshakable. That's your edge. That's your quiet superpower. Your next step? Now it's your turn. Don't just listen, live this. Practice the pause, journal your emotions, train your breath, protect your peace. Every small act of awareness builds the muscle of control. Every time you choose calm, you become stronger. And remember this isn't a one-time change, it's a lifetime practice, a way of life. So, the next time life throws chaos your way, smile. You've trained for this.